Hey guys, this is Will Roundtree, your FICO certified credit specialist, credit mastery instructor for the Jay Morrison Academy, author of 2 books, Credit is King, as well as Full-Time CEO, The Shit They Don't Tell You. But more importantly, I want to take you on this journey about financial literacy, the importance of credit, how to understand credit, and how to get to that money. Let's go. Hey guys, Will Roundtree here, 2-time author of the books, Credit is King, as well as Full-Time CEO, The Shit They Don't Tell You About. And I got to say, if you haven't picked up those 2 copies of the book, or at least 5 copies each, you're definitely doing yourself and your family, friends, and relatives and loved ones a disservice. But needless to say, I want to come to you and bring you some information about how to build your kids' credit. So one of the things that I'm vastly been learning about credit, or, on my 10 plus year journey in the credit and financial space, is that credit is extremely important. And, I've sat down with many, many parents and discussed with them the importance of teaching their children credit early, because once your child or your young adult goes into the real world, life can be extremely difficult when you don't understand credit. Not only that, a lot of times, let's say your child ends up going to college. College is usually where we end up ruining our credit a lot of times. Think about it. You get on campus and they offer you a free pizza and a t-shirt. Sign up for this credit card. Did you know I've had students who were in college and didn't think they had to pay the credit card back until after they graduated? They assumed it worked just like the student loan. But it's not their fault. It's because we haven't been teaching our children about credit and the importance of it, and how it will impact you once you get into the real world. And so, with that being said, we should start to build our child's credit at a very early age. A couple different reasons. One, let's say they did end up going to college, or like you say, just going out into the real world. Imagine them trying to go and get an auto loan without having no credit. It can be extremely difficult. And then typically what tends to happen, they come to us as the parents and want us to co-sign for them. Hey, I have a rule. Never co-sign for anyone, because if they stop making the payments, guess who's responsible? Absolutely. But if we're going to take the onus on to teach our children how to build their credit before they get into the real world, then it takes a load and a burden off of us as the parents. Or imagine them trying to get off campus, housing. You put them in a position to where now they can qualify and maybe have a no upfront deposit, or whatever the case may be. Or let's say by the time they graduate, and they want to go and work in a financial industry, or they want to go and work in insurance or a casino, or there's a lot of companies even outside of the realms of the financial services that will run your credit for employment. You just put them in a better position of being able to qualify for that job just based off of their credit, no matter what degrees or credentials they have. Did you know that in law school, once you pass the bar, they're making it difficult for you to get your law license in some states because of our credit? And a lot of that is because we haven't been teaching them credit in school. And so what I'm going to do is give you a couple quick tips of how to build your child's credit. And it's actually easier than you think. So did you know you can start building your child's credit as young as 13 years old? At the age of 13, you can actually start building up your child's credit. You may say, well, how do you do that, Will? I'm going to tell you just right here. You can do so by adding them on as an authorized user on a credit card. That's right. You can add your child on as an authorized user to a credit card and just let it kind of marinate, as I may say, over the next 5 years, because you can't pull their credit report until they're 18. Okay. And once they're 18, you'll be able to go and pull the credit report and be able to see the effects or the after effects of by adding them on as an authorized user. Now, there's a couple caveats when adding them on as an authorized user. Now, let's say you're the parent. Okay. You're the one with the good credit card and all of that good stuff. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to have great credit. You just want to have a credit card in good standings. Now, if you add them onto that credit card, let's say you have $1,000 credit card limit. Now, you as the parent have to make sure that you have no late payments. Okay. As well as your credit usage is at 30% or less. I always say if you can have it at 10% or less, it's actually even better, especially if you're going to add them on as an authorized user. Because if you get a late payment, guess who else has a late payment? They're going to have a late payment. So you've already set them up for failure by adding them on as an authorized user to a credit card where you have a late payment. Or let's say you are over 30% or you max the card out, then now that's going to hurt their credit profile over time. Now, the good thing when it comes to credit usage is you can always pay that down. I mean, essentially you have 5 years to get that credit card balance down. But in the event you add them on as an authorized user, it cannot impact you unless you let them use the card and you decide not to pay the bill. So by adding them on as an authorized user, it does not impact you negatively whatsoever. Okay? Because keep in mind, you do not have to give them access to the card. All you're doing is adding them on as an authorized user just to set them up for success. So when they do turn 18, you're able to go pull their credit report. So now as they decide to go off into the real world, they can qualify for that auto loan. They can qualify for that mortgage. They can qualify for that apartment. They may even want to go and get their own credit card, for in case of emergencies or whatever the case is. Now they can qualify for that job. See, keep in mind, we have to have a paradigm shift of understanding why credit is so important. Because I get it. There's a lot of pundits, a lot of gurus, and a lot of people telling us that we don't need credit, that credit is bad, it's the devil, and all those things. And that could be the case for some people who may want to live off the grid. But I'm telling you that in a community where credit is, commonly used, or the power of utilizing credit, we want to put our children in position so when they do decide to go out into the real world, that they're already set up for success. Because just by adding them on as an authorized user, by the time they turn 18 and you pull their credit score, as long as you keep that credit card in good standing, guess what? They're going to have a 700 plus credit score right out the gate. So immediately, this is the best graduation gift you can give a child. This is the best college gift you can give a child. Because as I always say, I'd rather have great credit than having access to $100,000 in the bank, because when you have great credit, trust me, you can position yourself to create wealth. And we'll talk about that in a whole nother video. So just to recap, how to build your child's credit literally overnight it's simple. Adding them on as an authorized user, making sure you keep the balance at 30, preferably 10% or less. Make sure you get no late payments. Make sure it definitely doesn't go to collections or anything of that nature. Because again, once they turn 18, they will have a 700 plus credit score. Now, not all credit card companies or banks will allow you to add them on at the age of 13, but even if they're 17, some may say 15 or 16, all banks have their own rules. Needless to say, as soon as they turn 18 years old, they're going to have a great credit score to allow them to be able to go out there, go into the real world, at least not having to solely rely on us from a cosigner standpoint or whatever the case may be. So again, hopefully you learned something. If you have not done so, go help build your child's credit. Trust me, it's the gift that keeps on giving. Again, family, my name is Will Roundtree. Again, if you have not done so, please click the link below to go and get access to either one of my books, Credit is King or Full-Time CEO, the shit they don't tell you about. Thank you.